Rápido aí, gente. Passou um minuto. Vamos lá.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Dan.
Good to have you all here. And sorry for we had a technical problem here. We need to restart everything and took some time.
It happens, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it happens. So, but anyway, the important thing is we are here, and let's begin. So, as you can see, y'all, we have our friend Dan Assisi. He's doing his Spiritada in London this week. So all the friends in London having a good moment with him. So let's start with him. Good evening, Dan. How are you, my friend?
I am well. Thank you, Stephen. Hello, Elsa. Hello, Charles. It is a pleasure to be here with you. I feel even closer being here in London. We are still virtual, but I feel a little bit closer. So it is great to be here with you guys.
Yeah. So, my dear Elsa, how are you, my dear?
More than happy.
Good.
Dan Assisi was with us. He gave a wonderful lecture Monday in the Allan Kardec Study Group, Center for Spiritist Teachings, North London, and was amazed despite this strike, but it didn't affect us. We go there and deliver everything. And for our wonderful friends that will be with us in this live today, thank you so much for your support that we can carry on this wonderful series, Spiritual Light, and today, Brilliant, with Dan Assisi, Charles Kemp, Stephen, and myself.
Yeah, wonderful. And bonsoir, Charles.
Bonsoir. Again, very happy to be here. I share totally Elsa's view. Happy to have Dan with us again today, tonight. Sorry for the small delay at the startup, but these are the technical issues. But luckily, we are here, connected and being able to do what we programmed.
Yeah, good. So today's topic, it is caring mind, body, and spirit. This topic invites us to explore the profound interconnectedness of our spiritual, emotional, and physical dimensions. In Spiritism, we understand that a human being is not just a flesh and mind, it is an immortal spirit as well, which sometimes is temporarily incarnated with the purpose of moral intellectual progress, and sometimes they are in the spiritual world. And in this show today, this program today, we will examine how spiritual well-being direct influences mental and physical health, and how inner disharmony, such as guilty, resentment, unhealed trauma, can manifest in the body or attract unhealthy spiritual influences. So, together we will discuss practical ways to care for the soul while honoring the body as a sacred instrument for growth. That's my introduction. And we should kick off with our questions. First of all, let me see who is with us today. So, Nikio Mel. Good evening, Nikio. And all the others here is everybody. Okay. So, let's start with our questions here. And Charles, as usual, you are my guinea pig. Yeah. I will save Dan a little bit. But Charles, how does Spiritism explain the connection between spiritual health and physical illness?
A good question. As you stated, as you said in your introduction, Stephen, in the Spiritist body of knowledge, we human being is basically composed of three things. One is a physical body, so this is what we know we can perceive and feel the best, which is also subject of medicine, which made huge progresses and continues progressing in a very fantastic way. But the Spiritist body of knowledge says us that it's not only a physical body that we have. Our mind is not creation, a product of our brain. We have also a spirit. And the spirit is basically this where lies the intelligence, where lies the memory, everything. And it's using the brain as a transmitter, like a radio is transmitting something which is being recorded in a studio or a TV or something like that. Of course, if the brain has a problem, like if the TV or the radio has a problem, you remove a piece or whatever, then the transmission gets harmed or jeopardized or even stops completely. So it's the same with the brain and with the physical body in general. And there is also a third component in us, which is the spiritual body, so-called perispirit in the Spiritist body of knowledge. And this is the intermediary thanks to which our spirit, which is immaterial, can act over the material physical body. So there is an obvious link between all what you asked. I mean, the spirit is linked to the body through the spiritual body. So if anything is wrong in the body, the spirit cannot express normally in our conscience and in physically. And also, if there is some problem in the spiritual body, the interaction between the spirit and the physical body will be also jeopardized. Okay, so this is okay. Now, on another hand, when you look to these medical magazines and reviews and with all these articles, nowadays you have hundreds and even thousands of publications of researchers done by physicians or psychologists or whoever, showing this how tight is this interaction between mind and body, between spirituality and health. Okay, of course, they will not come to the explanation we have. They still see the spirit as something which is a product of the brain, but what is important is that these studies are showing that that it works. So in other ways, how to say it, they are showing that what the spiritist body of knowledge is teaching, this influence between our immaterial spirit and our material body, is key. And it's the interpretation may be different, but all these studies are basically confirming the spiritist body of knowledge in these statements. So indeed, I mean, this interaction is permanent, and we will go more in detail into it tonight, showing that our state of spirit is influencing our physical health. And there are also some other effects well studied by medicine. I mean, not well studied, but observed that it works, is the placebo effect. It works, but what is it? The patient thinks that he's taking some remedy, and in fact, it's nothing in it. And it has the effect as if it would have been the remedy. Okay, so it works. I think everybody agrees that it works. Even the physician which do not follow the spiritualist paradigm. But now the question is, how does it work? And that is then more interesting to investigate. So indeed, it's absolutely fundamental and confirming the statement since Kardec and even before, is that our mind is strongly influencing the physical health of our body. Not for all, of course. If you have a wound, an accident, or you break a bone or whatever, it's a physical cause. It does not come from the brain. But then the restoring and whatever is depending on the physical brain, on the spirit, and what happens is a lot of illnesses have their source not in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm.
Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. Dan, Elsa, anything to add?
I can jump in and say I think that was a great explanation, and I would also say that I think most of us understand that intuitively already, right? We know and we can see that, just like Charles said, in medicine nowadays, that our mood affects our body, right? The somatization of our illnesses. Charles talked about the placebo effect, but there's also something called the nocebo effect, which is the opposite. That something can do damage to us if we believe that it is actually doing damage to us, which is not different than stress and anxiety and so on. And more we know that our mood and how we face things impacts and affects our quality of being. We even talk about mental health quite a bit these days, and that's a great advance on the medicine level, to understand that there are these factors that are processed by us, and whichever way our mind interprets them to be has a physical implication in our bodies. Anxiety, stress, all these things release cortisol and all these hormones in our body that affect the way we feel and the way our health goes. So that's really well understood, and more science goes ahead and understand this. I think what is really great, and I think Charles did a beautiful job of sharing with us, is that Spiritism goes a step further to acknowledge that that even though all these things are directed by the body, there is the mind, which is in the realm of the spirit, which really dictates this. And I think that it has wonderful implications for our long-term health, especially when we talk about multiple lives, which is a perspective that Spiritism brings, that bears on reincarnation. So that's a wonderful conversation too. But I think that Charles did a great job of telling us about the spirit, the perispirit, and the physical body, and how it goes back and forth, and how one affects the other, and how wonderful it is for us to be in a time where we are beginning to understand this idea that we are more than just a physical body, and that our emotions and our thoughts really affect the way we feel. And by consequence, the way we feel also affects the way we think. So I think it's a fascinating topic. Thanks for that explanation, Charles.
We in this moment that I'm reflecting what you said, Dan, what Charles said in the introduction of Stephen. Think about that nowadays people are so attached to care the body, but more as maquillage, as operation to be beauty, it's okay. But there are things that we as human beings should think a little bit more. That is our spiritual health. Everything starts on the perispirit, and Charles said very well. And we can damage a lot of things in our perispirit that will reflect in our body, mind, body, and spirit. That is a title of a magazine here, and a holistic fair that we have every year here, mind, body, and spirit, everywhere. But at the end of the day, Sometimes we are not thinking really in this trilogy. We think about the body, but don't think about the spirit. We don't think that everything is starting with spirit before reincarnating. Some damages, some problems that we will face is there. We can perhaps free from these problems if we act as a human being, as a spirit incarnated, seeing in others what we want to the others see on me as an example. And saying that the caring, the question for, the caring for others is a pathway for our own healing. When you do something to others, you are healing yourself, or diminishes your problems, or put the efforts in doing good and you receive good, attenuating your problem. Is the way that charity, without charity, there is no salvation. Charity is a good pathway to have a healthy spirit, even if your body is not healthy. If your body has a problem, you have no one leg missing, or other problems. But if you have a good, healthy spirit, you will overcome your difficulties, your challenges, and will be a happy person, even with your problems. And there are people that spend a lot of money doing operation to be better, plastic surgery. It's a plastic surgery, and they never encounter the beauty of the soul. Try to mortalize the body, but the soul is more important, really. In order to reflect in our body, our soul should be treated with love and care. Love and care means doing good to others, to be a charitable person, using compassion towards others, understand the problems of others, a normal way to live. If you do this every day, you can be, later on, it's automatic. You are caring others automatically. You don't need to think, I don't know if I do this or not do this. Thinking. It's okay. You have to choose what you want to do. But doing, helping, understanding, seeing with love and care, being silenced when they need to be in silence, they are medicine that make our soul healthy and reflect in our body, even if our body is not the best one, but it's the one that God gave to us. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Very important to keep this balanced. And then, how can mediumship be used to support healing of mind and spirit?
So it's a great question. And I think there's a lot there that we can unpack, right? I think that the first thing that we want to make sure that we talk about, which is something that we all know, that mediumship really is the ability to communicate with those who are not in a physical body and relay their information and communicate with them. And that happens in different ways, and there's different styles of mediumship. And so you could say that mediumship can help us in two different ways. The first one is in a physical way, where some mediums have the ability to channel really great energy that will help us reestablish the cellular balance of our bodies and aid in our physical healing. And that is great. That is one type of mediumship, which is wonderful. But there's also the other type of mediumship, which is really important, which is, well, sometimes we call intelligent effects, which is really about the psychology, the mind. It's about healing our minds. And by connecting with our spirits or being enlightened about spiritual life, we are then able to change our perceptions and realize that we are an immortal spirit created by God, and that it behooves us to change our behavior in a way that we are making choices that are good for us in the long term. We're kind to each other. We realize that we must be tolerant because we're all growing and so forth. And when we do that, when we align our minds with divine justice, which is right, what is good, and whichever name you want to do, there is an energy flux that also comes in and changes the way we behave, and that energy also flows through our body, allowing us to change our energetic makeup. And so, to use that wonderful framework that Charles brought to us, as our mind changes, our body also adjusts in that way, for good or for bad. So, if we put the spirit into the question, right, our mind is our spirit in many different ways. So when our spirit has the ability to be enlightened and acquires new knowledge or a new perception, it shifts its energetic balance, which has an effect in our bodies. And when that happens, it's able to help us heal physically, it's able to help us heal emotionally, which impacts the physical, and then we feel better. So through mediumship, through learning, through understanding new perspectives, through praying, establishing this connection with the divine, we are connecting to this divine energy almost as if we hooked up a cable to a wonderful source of energy. Or I like to say, imagine that we are just under a beautiful waterfall, and then we get this clean and wonderful water that comes into our bucket, and it helps us reestablish things. So mediumship is wonderful because it can help us in many different ways. But we do not need mediumship to heal ourselves. It is one way in which we can do that, but the mediumship is a way in which we're able to help ourselves change the way we think and open to new perspectives, to the divinity, to everything else. And once we align our thought with the divine will, once we align our thoughts with what is good, that energy naturally connects with us and helps us heal. So I love that mediumship is such a powerful tool for healing, but it doesn't mean that we cannot heal without mediumship. We can heal, of course, by going to the doctor, taking care of a physical illnesses. Very important. We must treat the body, as Charles said, but by changing our perspective, by changing our behavior, by changing our mindset, we take a substantial step in healing ourselves, both emotionally, psychologically, and also physically.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Dear Elsa, do you have any comments, Charles?
I'd like only to. I was thinking about the Irma Dulce in Salvador. It's looking like Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She was ill, just one lung. She was ill. Before the doctor, she was ill, but she didn't show her illness, working all the time in dedication to others. Is an example, just one example, but there are many other examples that doing good, you heal your soul, you heal your body, doing good, because you transfer the goodness that you are doing to others as a medicine of the spirit. And Dan just said that we heal our body with our mind as well, because our mind, if I think it every day, I will have a headache today. I know that I will have a headache today. I know it. Dr. Junior, Décio Iandoli Jr., he said, our mind, our brain, our mind has animalculus, the little cells, living ones. And the cells tell to me, oh, Elsa is asking that she will have a headache today. Let's work together to give a headache to Elsa. If I think, oh, today is a blessed day, it will be a wonderful day, I will do everything that I want to do. Here says, oh, Elsa said she will do everything in order to have a better day. Let's work for it. So we can incline our mind towards what we want, good or bad, and the damage or the healthy in our body. It's up to us to do things. The way that we face things, the way that we anger bring venom, poison our soul. If you shout, if you are an anger person all the time, is fighting with yourself, fight with the others, is a open bomb. Exploded every time. You are damaging your body with the poison that we create in this situation, isn't it? Everything is act and reaction, action and reaction. It's okay?
Perfect. Thank you. Charles,
maybe just add there, because mediumship is what enabled us to discover the spiritual realm, isn't it? By the spirits coming and telling us how it is there, and explaining us also, we came from there, we reincarnated in physical body, and for a given time, a journey of a little bit less than a century, and then we will go back to our spiritual home, isn't it? So this changes the point of view, as usual, because the day we will go back to the spiritual world, we will not take our physical body with us. Physical body stays here. Nevertheless, our soul, our spirit is needing the physical body, is needing to incarnate in the journey that we are currently having, all which are here. And for what? To progress, for the betterment of the spirit, So that is the goal. But our body is needed for the betterment of our spirit. So we need also to take care of our body. Our body we have borrowed to the earth. And when you borrow something from someone who like, you take care about your borrowed. But again, without excesses, because taking only about what you borrowed, forgetting completely the purpose why you borrowed this physical body, is also being misled, as Elsa told, people only taking care on the body. No, we should take care for sure, but without forgetting that the main goal, the main objective of our journey here is the evolution, the betterment of our soul, of our spirit.
And it's funny, Charles, because this connects to my next question. And I think this is a question for you and Dan. And how can mediumship be used responsibly to support healing of mind and the spirit? So let's start with you, Dan.
But you have to put your mic on.
I never learn. I was saying, would you like me to take a stab at it, or do you want to go first, Charles?
Go on, Dan.
All right. So mediumship is, like we said, a wonderful tool that allows us to connect with the spiritual realm, just like Charles said. Because of that, we have learned so much. We have not only obtained proof that our life continues and that we outlive the physical body, and because we are able to contact the spirits and they tell us that they were just like us, we know as a fact now, at least for us spiritists, that life after life is a rule of the universe, right? Is a law of divinity, and that's already wonderful. That's how he helps us, because it gives us a better sense of who we are. And when we have that perspective, we make better choices. So at least we're learning to make better choices. If I know that I'm an immortal spirit, then I would treat those around me better, because I know that there will be consequences for my actions, whether in this life or in the next. So that's one way. Now, the other way in which mediumship can help us is by providing venues through which we can learn about ourselves and grow. We have wonderful books from enlightened spirits who have beautiful messages full of wisdom from the spirits that touch us and help us change our own mindset. about what is it that we want for ourselves and how do we behave. And when that happens, we shift our energy and we're able to replenish our physical body, almost like we are plugging into a wonderful current that allows us to be healthier and to do better things. And the third way is that in which we're not only doing the emotional and the psychological healing, but we're also having this current physically alter our physical bodies and provide healing for our physical body. So responsible mediumship, whether you are receiving the gift of a message or you are a medium who is helping others, includes this exchange of energies with the most high or the enlightened or the most elevated. And in that process, every time that we are connecting with something of a greater realm, that wonderful energy stays with us. And so it is a wonderful way for us to benefit from mediumship. There is that saying that says there's always a little bit of perfume in the hand that offers flowers to others, right? In the process of passing that energy to others or the wisdom to others, some of it is retained in us. So mediumship is a wonderful way in which we can learn more about ourselves, learn about how the enlightened spirits think that we could potentially have a better life, and how we can help those as well who are not as fortunate or haven't realized that just yet. And in that process of them connecting with the divine, we also benefit from it. So it's a wonderful tool when our intention is set to what is good and what is great. And I think I might be reading this wrong. Nikki Meow, sorry if I'm misreading your YouTube name, asked if we could get sick from mediumship. Not if we have our intentions aimed at what's most high. Just like Charles said before about the placebo effect, when we connect to those energies, it's a wonderful thing. And so when mediumship is done responsibly, as Stephen said, then there is no risk of that. What do you say to that, Charles? What else would you add to this?
Talking about mediumship, of course, there is also the healing mediumship. You have well-known healers you had in the past, like Jesus, for instance. There were people blind with leprosy, with whatever, and just through his presence, just putting the hand, laying the hands, poof, the physical disease of the people in front of him get cured in a question of seconds. So this is also, well, Jesus, of course, was exceptional, but even today, you have people, for instance, when you are burnt or you have zona or whatever, this, I don't know what is the English expression for that, because even the hospital sometimes, when they know someone which has this faculty, call them in order to alleviate people who are heavily burnt, They don't do it officially. They don't know how it works. They just know, they see it works. There is an immediate relief and a much quicker cicatrization through this intervention. So this illustrates exactly this link, this interaction between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. Because all what is living, so plants, animals, humans, there is a spiritual principle behind enabling this life, And when it's dying, as a plant, an animal, or a human, a spiritual dimension, we cannot talk about soul. The word soul is maybe not adequate for plants or animals, but there is a principle which then gets free and recycling and the tree is dying, then you have a new tree coming, and so on, as well known in all what is living. So we have in front of us, in the phenomenon of life itself, an illustration of these interactions between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. And this is how someone, the healers or Jesus, for instance, is enabling of mobilizing maybe physical, through mesmerism, magnetism, or whatever, but also spiritual energy, in order to restore some illnesses. But Jesus told always, you are healed but go and don't start again the mistakes, otherwise you will get ill again, you know. The ill person has to do its own duty, because my spirit is linked to my body. Someone can go help me, but then he will go away, and then it's my spirit who has to maintain the health of my body, you know. This is also a very basic principle, which is absolutely very well observed and also very well explained by the spiritist body of knowledge through these interactions.
Wonderful. Beautiful. And I think we needed to watch ourselves. That's it. We need to watch ourselves.
Yeah. And I would argue, Stephen, that is a hidden benefit of that we don't think about. Because
exactly.
when we recognize that we are immortal spirits, means that the efforts that you do in this life to improve your health, be it physical, emotional, psychological, also carry over to the next life. So you're doing yourself a great favor by working on your well-being today, because that will be carried on with you, right? And we even understand how that works. It's just not a figurative thing anymore. Charles explained to us about that connection between the mind, which is the spirit, really, the perispirit, and the physical body. And if you think about this, right, in a roundabout way, this is not a really beautiful example, but it's one that is efficient. I look at it, imagine that you are, well, no, imagine that the example that we're giving here is that I push Stephen into a pool, right? And Stephen is now all wet. He then goes to the restroom or to the bathroom, and he changes his clothes. He takes the wet clothes off, right? And this is his physical body. And he puts new clothes on, and then he comes back out to the party. Now, if Stephen has not dried his underpants, so what's going to happen? The new clothes are going to get wet, right? And so much the same way our body works with our perispirit and our spirit. So our wet clothes, our physical body in one lifetime, as we pass from this life and we shed that body, the impressions and the practices that we have are still imprinted in the in-between, which in this case is the underpants. It's not a beautiful, erudite, academic example, but you get the idea, right? So it's necessary for us to dry ourselves really well so that our perispirit also dries up, so that in the next life, we don't have our clothes wet with those illnesses and those things that have affected us in the past. That is one of the reasons, for instance, how we understand there are some congenital illnesses that we are born with. There are some diseases that we are born with that seem to have no origin in this lifetime. It's because they have come from our actions in previous lives. So if you carry on, my point is, some great living here and make some great choices, you are drying up your clothes in your spirit now, so that when you pass to the other side, it's even easier for you to continue to dry it. And when you come back to the next life, you're going to be as dry as it gets. So there is a wonderful benefit for us to taking care of our mental and emotional health and physical as well in this lifetime. So what you're doing today, your efforts today do not only benefit you right now, but they also benefit you from lifetimes to come.
It is wonderful. And I want to also go through a question. Nick, again, sorry, Nick Yomil here.
Stephen, before your question, I think it's good if you clarify a little bit to Nick Yomil about Buddhism and Spiritism. He doesn't need to leave his religion in order to add all these studies that Spiritism offers for free, of course. But clarifying things about reincarnation, about mediumship, how to use mediumship, when it's possible to use mediumship, how to study, how to have our meetings. Come and participate with us, Nikhil. You don't need to leave your religion or other things. Spiritism is a philosophy, a body of knowledge, that a science that help us to understand where I come from, what I'm doing here, why someone suffer, how to understand the sufferings, etc. If you want more, there are plenty of information online in our websites, Irish website, here in the UK, bas.org.uk. So plenty of things in order to give to you direction to what you want to later on. So you
Yeah.
decide later on.
Yeah, and just emphasize that you don't need to leave the Buddhism to become a spiritist. Same thing, you don't need to be Catholic, or you need to give up of your Protestant religion. No. Spiritism will make you a better Buddhist, will make you a better Catholic, will make you a better Protestant, to make you a better whatever religion you are. Spiritism will help you to become more aware of the practice of your Buddhist philosophy or any other kind of philosophy. But the question I was
So, adding, Spiritism is absolutely not exclusive. Spiritism
exactly
absolutely open. And I can also talk a little bit about my own experience. I have been educated Catholic, and then not getting the answers I got, I didn't care anymore about these roots of my education, Catholic. And now that after I discovered Spiritism, I would say I'm more Christian now than I was Christian when I was Catholic.
exactly
Because now I
happens.
can understand
happens,
what's
yes.
behind, Of course, there are some differences, but I can understand what's behind. And this is fundamental. I mean, Spiritism is not a religion. It's a philosophy. It's how to say, ethical principles. It's more universal than being and I mean, if the number of people who are spiritists who do not practice mediumship, because this is also not a must. We don't need to practice mediumship to be spiritist. But when you discover the mediumship, when you discover the faculty, and you see all what you can do with the mediumship, as we just explained, willing to help the others with the faculty you may have, of course you will practice it, but for doing good, not because you are obliged. If you don't want to practice, you don't practice, full stop. Nobody will oblige you to anything in the spiritist, as per the spiritist teachings or body of knowledge.
Especially when free will is such an important concept that we must handle, right? We all have our choices. And I think my friend Nikyo Miao, again, sorry for butchering your name there. It is very okay if you continue to chant and go to the Buddhist temple and still are interested in spiritism. You have to find out what works for you. Nobody can make that decision for you. We cannot make the decision for you. They cannot make the decision for you. If you like chanting, do it. But take responsibility for your choices there. You can do both. And you're going to be okay. Follow your heart there, follow your mind, and I'm sure you're going to be great.
good. So we have 5 minutes. Let's starting our wrapping up session here. So Charles, your final comments.
Yeah, I mean, it's change. That's clear between from a Catholic education, then scientific education, and then discovering the spiritist body of knowledge and all these spiritual reality and interactions, it changes completely of our way to seeing. And even it helps, and this is what is demonstrated now by these hundreds and thousands of papers I just mentioned, about link between spirituality and health. It is giving us huge resource in order to cope with difficulties, with illnesses, with suffering. You know, there is a strength, and as Dan said, when we are in difficulties and we concentrate ourselves and synchronize ourselves with our spiritual mentor, a spiritual guide, or guardian angel, if you prefer, whatever the expression is, you feel immediately that huge flow of energy coming onto you to give you hope, to give you courage, to give you patience, to give you all these tools which are key for coping, and even in adversity, even when you are facing difficulties or suffering. So it's really, how to say, a game changer. And this, based on the reasoning, on observation of facts and so on, is unshakable. And that is the change, this change between the blind faith, where you have to believe even if you don't understand, to this reasoned faith, where you believe in something even more because you have a better level of understanding of what's behind. And this is basically all what is about Spiritism. Spiritism does not want to move or deviate someone from any belief or whatsoever. It's just presenting, okay, these are the teachings, these are the observation, this is the philosophy which comes out of this observation, even on good or evil, on universal morals that we can find in the roots of any religions in the world, which are absolutely consistent between themselves, leaving everyone free to follow the external rituals or whatever, which are the basis of the religion. And that is basically the role of Spiritism, just to bring offer some additional information, additional food for thought.
And what you said makes so much sense to me, Charles. It really does, because at the end of the day, if there is a creator, a God, for a source of all things in the universe, and there is, right? Then that source of creation, everything else, doesn't really care that much about the label that we place on ourselves. He really cares whether we are making efforts to be better, to be kind, and so forth. I think we in this realm pay more attention to those labels and to the team that we're in. I'm not sure that, I call it God, I'm not sure that God really cares which religion we're in, but whether we are doing sufficient and progressive effort to get ourselves to a better place emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and also doing a contribution in the world. It's almost like we're all working for the same boss. We're just in different departments, and the departments keep fighting each other to see which department is better. The truth is, there is no better department. There is a knowledge of working together. We just happen to like, at least I do, very much the way in which Spiritism brings all this information based on all these facts and all this inquiry and all this research, like Charles explained, that makes it really easy for me to understand things. For me, I need to understand things to really accept them and embrace them. And Spiritism has been a wonderful way to do that. This progressive body of knowledge that continues to grow, continues to ask questions, continues to research, is something that has really changed my life in many different ways. And I really appreciate that. It doesn't mean that there's no wisdom elsewhere. Absolutely, there is. As a matter of fact, Spiritism, and Kardec tells us that very often in his writings, that we should look for that in different places. He even talks about the universality, right, of the spirits, that if something is true, it's going to show up in many different places. So I really see Spiritism as a lens, as a philosophy, as a way of thinking, like Charles described, as a progressive body of knowledge that is very curious about everything else. You don't have to close your mind to just one thing, whether spiritism or something else. Just embrace it. Take what's best for you to make you a better human being. And I think that's our journey here, collective journey. We're all trying to do that, to try to be a little bit better tomorrow. I just so happen to really like this tool that we call spiritism.
Wonderful. Maria Elsa?
I'd like to say that we are what we are, but we try to be the best every day, a better person, and see the others as our brothers and sisters. No one is more or less than us. We are the same level this planet, but we can move on to be a better person, being good to others. Do to others what others do unto you, said Jesus. So, exactly what we should do. Be a better person in Spiritism, help us to be a better person every day, without putting ourselves in the corner, without blaming ourselves. No, it's up to us. We have our free will, and we use it, of course, for a better purpose. So thank you so much for everybody. A big hug to everyone. Thank you for the contribution here in the chat. And thank you, Dan, for being with us, this wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you, Charles, and thank you, Stephen.
It's wonderful to have you here. Okay, so let's go to the announcements here. I also want to say thank you to Marcos. Also has provided us some insights about responsibilities of charity. So that's what we have. So let me share my screen. Okay, so next week we will have. Next week we'll have our friend Watanabe from FESP. And we're gonna talk about valuing life. Very good topic. And Roberto Watanabe will be here with us. This is the calendar of our friend Dana Sisi in UK. So the tomorrow, tomorrow he'll be in Solidarity Spiritist Society. It's in Portuguese. Yeah, this is in Portuguese. Nossa Estrada de Damasco and the Quakers Meeting House. The topic is wonderful. I love when Dan talk about Poe. Everything about Poe. It's wonderful. And also from September 12th, he's gonna be in the Joana de Anjos
Congress, yes.
Congress. Okay. So if you want to reach Dan, you have there two good opportunities. So our Spiritist Center for Peace in London, they have a study group online in Heaven and Hell in the Gospel According to Spiritism every Wednesday at noon. Also, we have Medium book online study every Saturday 10:30 with Charles, Munir, and Guilherme. Also, the Allan Kardec study group in the UK do not have online meetings. It's in-person meeting. So you can join them every Monday from 7:15 to 8:45 p.m. The SSL, Spiritist Society of London, also does have the study online every Tuesday from 7 p.m. Solidarity Group, they hold a meeting with young people every Thursday from 6:45 to 7:45. So everyone is more than welcome to join us. Keep reading Spiritism Magazine. It's free. Just go to the website and pick a magazine to read, and you will find out wonderful articles there. Subscribe to the Spiritism Radar. Then always keep us up to date what's going on the Spiritism world in the English world of the Spiritism.
Yes, we try to make it simple and short. It's once a month email, right?
Yeah. Look, our friends from Sembradores de Luz, they do have a wonderful project, Germinate, which teach Spiritism to pregnant women and babies. So it's wonderful. I invite everyone to look for it. It is in English, in Spanish, it's in Portuguese. So it's wonderful. Try our Kardec bot. Yes, we are up to date with the AI. So Kardec bot is on ChatGPT. So if you have any questions about Spiritism, why not try to ask Kardec bot? And you get your answer. And this is it from me today. Keep listening, Kardec Radio. Thank you, Kardec Radio, for this hour they gave us. And as Elsa said, thank you, Dan, for your time. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Munir, for helping me this week. We opened a meeting today, and last week took over because I was traveling. So thank you, Munir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Louviam. Thank you, Nick Mel. Good questions. I invite you, look, Nick Mel, I'm putting here the Buzz website. So feel free to reach one of the Spirit Center close to your home, and they can clear up any questions you may have, any questions unanswered by us today. Okay? And that's, oh yeah, Lily Kapai. Thank you, Lily. Thank you so much. That's it from me today. That is from us today. So thank you so much. Have a nice evening. I'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes.